Hello folks, this is Dama.82 and here we are back for part 65 of my From the Depths Let's Play at 2.4.9. Here we are back where pretty much exactly where we left off in episode 64 after that warlord despawned. So yeah, just going back to the strategic map here, getting ready for our next fight. Still having issues with it all guns blazing. I'm gonna have to probably get with me and ask him how to undo that bug again. I can't remember. Anywho. It's moving at a brisk 21 meters a second at the moment, so there's that. Amazing how fast you can get a big ship moving in this game, especially with the steam engines, I've noticed. It almost seems like now in current, probably the best way to get around would be to use a steam engine because the large boilers have bonuses for efficiency now. So yeah, there's that. And you probably have to do some kind of a hybrid system for your power needs. Unfortunately, I just don't know enough about using steam propulsion to really warrant its use right now. I'm learning things as I go from Mark III. He seems to have a pretty good grasp on it. This is what I was mentioning earlier about the Dreadnought's getting some love here, and well, crams the shit out of these airships here. I'm wondering if I should bring the Hulk class in. I mean, I could upgrade its armor and redo its LAM system, and it would probably be a pretty good contender. That thing has got more crams on it than any ship I've ever made. That thing is one of the meanest DACA throwers I think I ever came up with. Though oddly for its size, I'd almost have to call it a heavy cruiser. It's not very big. It's probably about the same size as the Dreadnought here, if I'm to be honest. A Super Dreadnought build, that could be fun to do. I might give that a go. Yeah. Super Dreadnought. And it bugged out again. So now we gotta bail it out with some of the aircraft that are around here. Now this battle, I think it goes on for a pretty long while because the only thing I really got in the area is just Hammer Highs and the Screaming Eagle interceptors, and they just do not do enough DPS fast enough. I mean, yeah, they'll eventually handle it, but keyword being eventually, so yeah, this battle will it'll be drawn out for quite a while. Yeah. And here we go with more nuke spam. You can see those little flyers back off in the distance. Yeah, those things piss me off. And it's hard to get the missiles to focus on them because They always want to go for, well, depending on what kind of setup you go with, they'll go, if it's radar guided, they'll go for the biggest target. If it's infrared guided, they'll go for the hottest target. So trying to get missiles to focus on a certain thing, it's kind of hard to do. Those missiles that you're seeing coming in with the turning thrusters, those are from the Screaming Eagle interceptors. Uh, Basically, just to try to give those missiles a much better turn rate. I've actually seen them hit the Raptors that are used by the Steel Striders with pretty great effect. I'm not going to lie, that they're decent. So yeah, pretty much just gonna watch all this stuff get missile spammed from outer space. That's kind of how this battle is gonna go. Fortunately, we do manage to do enough damage to most of this stuff to where when it does hit the water, it's at 80% and sinking. Otherwise, you're really needing torpedoes. I think one of those kobolds is actually going to take a bunch of shots at the dreadnought here later. They don't really do too much to it. Then I kind of discovered this little oddity here where it looks like two hammer highs kind of phased into each other, so I had to despawn one of them so they wouldn't like wreck each other. Those hammer highs are expensive, so I think they run about 60k, give or take, somewhere around 50-60k. Crazily enough, though, you could get those to work in Ashes of the Empire. I mean, you might need to do some rework of the volume, but yeah. It's not too much over the volume limit, and that thing would be scary effective in that. Just APN bomb the shit out of everything. Hell, it might even be more scarier than that bomber that me and Heitzmeister put together, the Sword in the Wind. He's pretty proud of that thing. To be honest, he kind of did most of the work on it. I kind of just built the fuselage, and he kind of built everything else around it. Don't get me wrong, though, it was a pretty good build. Had a lot of fun doing it. We kind of had to put Ashes on the Empire on hold because he was off on a business trip. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get back into it very soon. I'm very eager to get back into that campaign because it's been a lot of fun doing it with him. Very talented builder. I hope he's learning just as much from me as I have been from him. There's not a whole lot of people that you can find out there that have an understanding of breadboard, even though he claims that his is very basic. But he was able to make a tank steering system for breadboard that's very similar to what I use. So, yeah. Oh, that glorious steel rain. Crazy thing though about the Hammer High, I think it could actually take one of the Shiriyamas. At least one of them could. I don't think the Shiriyama really has the kind of weaponry necessary to be able to hit it effectively. Yeah, that thing is pretty much, we blasted pretty much through its armor, and now it's just picking apart the insides with the bombs. As you can see there's all kinds of gaps in the armor. I am kind of wondering how the Great Talons are going to manage when they redo the mechanics on things like Deadly Blades, because I think at that point they probably need to have access to the exterior of the craft, so then that way they'd be able to work. So it'll be interesting to see how that shit turns out. It makes me wonder if they'll even be Great Talons after that, because I mean, everything that they have just about uses internal Deadly Blades. Now, don't get me wrong, I love From the Depths. I just, as of late, I haven't really had a whole lot of faith in a lot of the developers' decisions. Which is one of the main reasons why I'm doing this in an older version of the game. And I'm sure I said this once before, and I'll say it again. You can take a hoe, dress her up like a Disney princess, but at the end of the day, she's still a hoe. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like From the Depths is in current. She's still a hoe. Now with all the bugs, said hoe has seemed to have picked up a few venereal diseases. Oh well. I just kind of wish that the community would kind of band together against some of these, in my opinion, very shitty changes that have been coming along, instead of just kind of sitting on their laurels and say, "Oh, that's interesting." No, I'm sorry, no, that's not how this shit works. If you don't like something, say something. And if it's as simple as that, you don't like something, say something. Otherwise, people are never going to know what you really want. And some of the stuff that keeps getting proposed by some really I'm trying to think of an accurate way to describe this. Some very ignorant people. There's no nice way of saying it, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, poor battle crew, or the poor dreadnought here. It's getting the ever-living crap eaten out of it by all these damn nukes. Every now and then it nails them though with those secondary cans, but I think by the time I decide to despawn it, it's about 75-ish%. So yeah, I don't want to pay too much for repairs on it, so I'm just like, fuck it, I'm pulling this. Even though I kind of wish I would have left it in there at some point, because then that means I lose my ability to use torpedoes. I think I just need to back up these air fleets with at least one submarine. Maybe expanding the last man standing fleet might be a good option. Anyway, back to what I was talking about with some of the changes that they're talking about. It's like people want to throw a bunch of realism into this, and no, that doesn't make any sense to me, and here's why. We're playing a game where we can use steam boilers not only underwater, but in the vacuum of space. So, yeah, just leave it alone. If the game would have never gotten past 2.4.9, and all the campaign craft worked correctly and they fixed the bugs, I would be perfectly okay with it been released then. But I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that think change is better, but I guess I'm just kind of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of line of thinking here. Anyway, here's a fairly interesting battle here that's going to be going on here in the south. This fleet really needs a second Shirayama missile cruiser. Yeah, it's got the Primo Victoria as an anchor, and it does pretty well against surface targets. Against air targets, not so much. I'm thinking maybe Primo Victoria could probably use a bank of small missile swarms, so something to think about in the future. I don't know where I would be able to put those. Something to think about. Yeah, this battle's going to get a little nuts here because Shirayama is just going to get beaten all to crap. Mostly because of that goddamn thing up there. I hate tachyons. Not because I can't kill them, because I can. Obviously, I mean, I have seen Shirayamas take out tachyons. But mostly because they're just annoying more than anything. And I don't know if you guys have ever looked inside of one of those, but I would guess probably about half that craft is fuel. Because it's powering some pretty ridiculous lasers. And on top of that, it's got like 3 custom jet engines in the back of that thing, and it just buzzes around probably like 165 meters a second. Yeah, that thing is a little nuts. Another thing that kind of came along and made this battle a little nutty was like a Hypatos or 2, I think, was in the mix here. Strangely, the Hypatos seems like it's a little easier to hit, though. Well, aside from whenever it like spawns its balloon armor after hitting the water. But that last man standing submarine right there, that fella is going to be the true champion of this battle here, because it's probably going to end up doing tons and tons of missile damage to these flyers. I think at one point I actually had to restart the battle because I can't really remember why I did that. Oh well, I'm sure it was a good reason. I think everything was just kind of getting too spread out and I just wanted to consolidate. Yay! There goes one of the tachyons. Rotten hell, you piece of shit. There goes a Hypatos. But with these really fast designs, I find that the easiest time to hit them is when they're coming in for their attack run. Then you can just, like, small missile swarm the ever-living crap out of them, and hopefully they go down, and then you just let your main guns or torpedoes finish them off from there. Here comes another Hypatos. And one of those PAC motherfuckers, I think that's a terawatt, don't quote me on that, but it's probably a terawatt. And I ended up having to pull the missile cruiser because it was just getting eaten up too badly. I think I ended up pulling the laser cruiser as well. And Primo Victoria comes in to finish off that pack ship out there. Prima Victoria, it's pretty much set up to counter a lot of Lightning Hood's designs, but it just doesn't really do that good against her aircraft. It's mainly a gunboat. I mean, yes, it does have anti-air capability because it does have flat guns, and it's got that quad mount 60mm in the back of it. But yeah, that's token at best. And oh, looks like I forgot to place some blocks there. Oops. Oh well. Yeah, this thing it doesn't have too much issues with dealing with armor and things like that. It fires hollow point high explosive with solid bodies for extra kinetic damage, and it also uses, I think, I can't remember if it's a pure Hesh or if it's a Hesh heat combo. Either way, really nasty stuff. Secondary guns go with the 1 meter long, 200mm Hesh rounds. This thing, it's pretty tanky versus laser vehicles because it's got a lot of smoke, and it's got ACBs set up to come on for, or switch the lasers over to laser absorbing when attacked by lasers, of course. Yeah, this ship does very well against surface targets. I've actually seen pairs of them take out tiers without too much issue. It actually does fairly well against tiers, even with the variation in firepower and cost. So it's not a bad ship at all by any means. It could stand to have a little bit better anti-aircraft capability. Part of me kind of wants to rip off that 60mm turret on the back there and maybe put some kind of a slow charge laser setup instead to help it deal with these flyers a bit better. Then again, something else I should probably look into doing is maybe come up with a 4Q laser. That's something I haven't really messed a whole lot with. I usually try to go for like heavier hitting slow lasers that deal a lot of damage in one shot, but really for a lot of these flyers, a better option is to just probably use a 4Q laser. I might have to experiment with that off camera. Yeah, usually when attacking air targets, you want to get as much DACA out there as possible. I think it was somewhere close to about this point in the battle once I realized that the Primo Victoria, it seemed like it kept running out of ammunition and probably wouldn't be able to do near enough damage to try to take all this crap down. Yeah, that's when I decided to end the battle. I think that force in the south might need an air wing to protect it. I am very on the fence about that because lasers will just chew up aircraft. So that's why I've been hesitant to have some kind of escorting air fleet down there. Oh, I do wonder if I could just like completely take them on with nothing but a fleet of last man standing submarines. But yeah, next time I'll pull this campaign up, I probably will give that fleet another Shirayama, repair that submarine that got lost. Yeah, for the rest of the video, it's just going to be me taking out these two Hypatos. This battle just seemed like it just dragged on and on and on and on. It's crazy. That's the power of Hej, people. It just loves to tear apart your insides. I was trying to steer that ship away from that island, but then I was like, nah, fuck it. There's nothing I could have done to keep it from hitting that. It just was way too close when I caught it. Now that was frustrating as hell, watching that torpedo just bounce off of it like it was nothing. I would have loved it if it would have taken out that laser. And here we go off, back into the Wild Blue Yonder again, and letting the Sun Tzu tickle it with its laser cannon. Cannons, plural. And here comes another big missile swarm. Doing all that fragged EMP damage. It looks like the Shirayama managed to unfuck itself when it ran into that island there, so that's awesome. That Sun Tzu is just gonna sit out there and kind of peck it to death. Awesome. Come on, get that sumbitch. I think those are just missile interceptors trying to intercept whatever's coming out of the butt end of that thing. But I think most of the missiles are disabled at this point. Ooh, there was a lag spike. I thought the laser cruiser was going to make an excellent dedicated anti-air vehicle, but I don't know, it just seems like it might do better up in the north than where it is right now, so I think I might try to do a more dedicated anti-aircraft type ship. Maybe a 4Q laser style. I wonder if it would be how difficult it would be to modify the Sun Tzu to do that. It might have some room for spare engines, so that's a thought. And it's pretty much got a lot of the infrastructure in place for lasers, so we'll find out. But it's not like it's bad at dealing a lot of damage. I mean, as you can see here up in the top right, it's getting that the laser damage is slowly creeping up and up and up. I mean, right now it's over 250,000 easy. And now we're just going to APS that thing down. Because I think the heavy cruiser might have spawned in by now. Yeah, that thing is just going to get fucked up with all kinds of missiles hitting it. Alright folks, this is about the end of the battle and the end of the video here, so yeah, I've got about 40 some odd seconds on it. Basically not a whole lot left to commentate on it other than getting this fleet wiped out here. I was really happy about that because you saw how long this took, so yeah. Anywho, I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been Dama.82. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have you all yourselves a hell of a day and keep your hammer high. Later.